So. Well, here.
Good to go.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. I welcome everyone present here today, as well as those who may be watching this live or later on YouTube, to the Barrie Police Services Board meeting of January 19, 2023. Sadly, for the third time in recent months, we mourn the loss of a police officer who lost his life in the line of duty protecting this community. Before I recognize the lands for which we are meeting, I would ask that the board and those present observe a moment of silence as we pay respects and honor the tragic and senseless loss of Ontario Provincial Police Constable Greg Pacella, a Barrie native, who died in the line of duty over the holidays. Thank you. The Barrie Police Service extends its deepest sympathies to the family, friends, and colleagues of Officer Pacella and all the police services and first responders as they respond, or as they once again have to deal with this tragic loss. Lastly, Chief Johnston, Deputy Chief Allen, on behalf of the board, please extend our appreciation and respect for the well-being of all our members. Once again, they were called upon. Once again, they showed tremendous professionalism during an extremely difficult time. In keeping with Indigenous protocol and building respectful relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada, it is customary to acknowledge the traditional territories and ancestral lands of the Indigenous peoples. We would like to acknowledge this sacred land on which the Barrie Simcoe Emergency Service Network operates. It has been the site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the ancestral land of the Huron-Wendat and the Anishinaabe Nation. The treaty that was signed for this particular parcel of land is collectively referred to as the Williams Treaty. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture. We are also recognizing the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples on this land and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Language. Our agenda was provided in advance. I'm just going to, it's note number 6 and 7. I'll move it up to motion to approve today's agenda that was distributed. Mr. Strong, any questions, comments, concerns with respect to the agenda? Seeing none, those in favor? Thank you. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest from members with respect to today's agenda? Seeing none. I would like to begin then the meeting with I will release the chair to our board administrator, Ms. Hudson, who will walk us through the election of the positions for the Barrie Police Service Board. Ms. Hudson.
Thank you. Good morning. At this time, I would like to call for nominations for the position of chair of the Barrie Police Services Board for the year of 2023.
I'd like to nominate member Greg Ferguson.
Yes, she said.
Is there a seconder?
Second. Yep.
Are there any further nominations? I declare the nominations closed. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. I would now like to call for the nominations for the position of Vice Chair for the Barrie Police Service Board for the year of 2023.
I'd like to nominate Deputy Mayor Robert Thompson for Deputy Chair.
Are there any further nominations? I declare the nominations closed. All in favor of the motion? Opposed?
Didn't ask me if he wants to jump.
Sorry. Motion is carried.
Sorry.
At this time, I would like to call for nominations for the Budget Subcommittee, which is our chair, and And we will need one nomination.
I nominate.
Then, are you willing to go? Are you willing to stand for that motion?
Yes,
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. And now I would like to call for nominations for the position of policy and the bylaw committee that I believe is chaired by the vice chair. And I am looking for anyone willing to stand for that committee.
I'll nominate Mr. Khan.
And are you willing to stand for that?
I am, thank you.
Any further nominations? I declare the nominations closed. All in favor of the motion? Thank you. Opposed? And motion's carried.
Thank you very much. Back to the agenda, included in our package in advance was the minutes of our December 15th, 2022 meeting. A motion to approve those minutes. Mr. Khan. Mayor Duddle, any comments, concerns, questions, amendments with respect to the minutes? Seeing none, those in favor? Thank you. There were 3 items in our consent agenda that were provided to the members in advance. Staff acknowledgements, public complaints, and our budget variance for November, as of November 2022. I'll ask first for a motion to receive those. Mr. Hahn, any questions, comments, or any items pulled for discussion on the 3 consent agenda items? Seeing none, those in favor? Thank you. Chief Johnston, I believe this is your first report to the board as our new chief of police. Welcome. Over to you, please, sir.
Thank you, Board Chair. Thank you for the opportunity. Police Services Board to focus on a few events and initiatives that have occurred since our last board meeting. And I use the term focus instead of highlight, and explain shortly why. On December 27th, Ontario Provincial Police Officer Greg Prishala was murdered in the line of duty. Although working with the OPP in Haldimand County, his hometown was Barrie, and his family is a part of our community. January 4th, thousands of police officers, first responders, and community members lined the roads of the procession to the Salad Center where a police funeral was held. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the city of Barrie and the personnel who were just very much appreciated. They stepped up, and it was, as we've come to expect from our city partners, their assistance with the planning and just going out of their way to help us we were very thankful for. And as a police service, we were honored to assist the OPP in the planning of the funeral, to pay our respects. So this slide is one you've seen numerous times before, and this is our computer-aided dispatch, and just a broad overview of the CAD-created events over a given month, and this is from December. Just overall volume coming into the police service. I will draw your attention to, so there's over 6,000 CAD-created events that come into the organization. Bring your attention to the 488 community services, and that's a broad catch-all. And so there are multiple subcategories and subtypes to that. I just thought it'd be interesting for the police service board to know that within this month that's captured, 237 of those are what we are captured as hotspots. And as you're well aware, we are a harm-focused police service in terms of how can we proactively be at places to reduce the actual crime from occurring. And so 237 of those community services events were hotspot checks. On December 16th, the Barrie Police Service was honored to be recognized by the CAA as the recipient of the School Safety Patrol Program Achievement Award. It's specifically Special Constable Shannon Special Constable Shannon Calladine, who the board may remember from the Inside Out presentation, the evidence-based program, for her ability to find creative ways to deliver the school safety program remotely during the pandemic. And so that was recognized, and the service was recognized for her great work. And so we noted that. December 21st, success of the Mitten Tree initiative continued into 2022. Hundreds of donated mittens, scarves, and hats. These were all delivered to several organizations across our community to help support individuals of all ages throughout the city of Barrie. And we thank our community, the outpouring of assistance, and we also recognize within our own organization, Danielle Hutchison, Jenna Mays, just strong support, and it speaks volumes of our community. So we're very thankful for that. So this is my opportunity for me to speak to how honored I was to be part of the change of command ceremony held at the South Shore Center. It's an opportunity for me to thank the Police Service Board and Chair Ferguson for partaking in the formalities of the occasion. Policing is steeped in history, and there are a number of things that we do, and they're very meaningful and impactful. So I do thank the board for that. I am honored. I'd also wanted to thank Justice Tarza for officiating at the oath of office. And this was also the date, December 22nd, when my predecessor, Chief Greenwood, officially transitioned into retirement. And no doubt they will not stop. She's very involved in the community, and we will continue to be working with her in a number of capacities. So on January 10th, I'm proud to report, we had our recruit graduation. 14 new officers were presented their badges at a ceremony held at the Mapleview Community Church. And this is the first recruit graduation to be held since 2019 due to COVID restrictions. You can see a return to normalcy, and that is a really positive thing that I think the community should be aware of, that we're starting to see things come back. It was well attended by friends, family, Barrie Police Service members, and members of the board. January 11th, and this is about how important it is to set the tone. Their first day for these 14 officers was incredibly important and hopefully impactful for them, and I believe it was. Their morning began with the new officers traveling around to 6 community partner locations, including the Women's Shelter and Shalom Congregation and the Barrie Native Friendship Center. Familiarity with the groups that we rely on daily and interact with daily in keeping the community safe, but in helping our citizens. Lunch was spent with some of our Barrie City councillors, and there was an opportunity for some of the councillors to speak to the unique nuances of their particular wards, and they sat around tables and they had some good discussion, which is really, I think, impactful for our new officers. The afternoon consisted of our officers meeting with 13 additional community partners who set up within our lunchroom, allowing for different organizations to educate our new members about the services, how we work together to support our community. They broke into 2 groups, the recruits, and they went table to table to better understand what services were offered, how we work together, how we rely on our community service partners out there to deliver public safety. Law enforcement is a very limited part of what we do. It is very much a part and always will be, but when we talk about community safety, it's about engaging all of our community partners to help. With respect to this next slide, the City of Barrie Community Survey, we are an active partner in the City of Barrie's community safety and well-being plans. And we encourage our public that is watching who would like to complete a short survey to help us understand how the community members feel about the community safety and well-being in Barrie. We'd ask you to please visit the City of Barrie website. The note here is that this closes January 20th, so tomorrow, but incredibly important. We are a data-driven organization. Our city relies on this information because we need to know what we don't know, and if it's out there, please share that information with us. Board Chair, that completes my first chief focus highlights for the month.
Thank you very much, Chief. Questions from the board, Chief Johnson?
Thank you. And not so much a question, more of a comment. Just wanted to commend the service on the orientation for the new recruits. I was able to attend at least a portion of that ceremony, and it was great to see all of the new recruits that we have to the force. It was also nice to see so many female recruits as well. I thought that was nice out of the crowd of new people, but very important introducing them to the community partners and giving them a sense of the city that they are working in and that they have now dedicated themselves to serve and protect and be a part of. And what a great orientation. So kudos to you and the other members of the team who put that together.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Chief, for the presentation. 230, I think you said 237 instances with relations to, I don't have the slide in front of me, but I can't remember the tab name, was community
Services. So the hotspot checks under the CAD created events. Yes.
So it's almost 50% of those are through being in the right place at the right time based on understanding where the hotspots are and where the harm's happening. Is that correct?
We believe so.
Wonderful. That's something else.
And again, as we move forward as a police service, we're very much and back to the Strong's point too. We're research driven, and so with the hotspot checks and that focus on increased diversity within our pool, and there's strong research with regards to women police officers and the impact that they can have on a culture, on just across the entire organization. We're very excited. So we are focused.
I will just say on that one piece, I remember growing up as a kid, it was always really nice to see the Barrie Police Service. For me, I was in Mill Creek. I know that's not the only one, but in Mill Creek, seeing the police service come through just was just stability. It's a structure that, being able to see, breathe, interact, it was always provided a safe feeling in a place that wasn't always as safe as it could be. So.
Please,
Chair. Sure. Chief, we always talk about culture. We talk about changing culture, improving culture, relationships with the community. And I think that as Ms. Strawn and there pointed out, you can only nurture a seed if you planted it properly, and starting them off on their first day with that orientation and recognizing, yes, we have our fire and emergency service, paramedic services, et cetera, and they are oftentimes the three that are just ingrained in culture as the first responders. Oftentimes we don't see in the same comparative light the other partners that you have. So I just want to commend you on setting that tone, and we will only see that change in culture and that continued improvement in culture if they're able to start with the right sort of perspective and that being ingrained in them from day one. So congratulations for doing that. Or thank you for doing that.
Thank you. And as a police service, we are committed. We are committed to the community, but we are committed to working with the community. I think I've spoken about that social contract and our responsibility, but it is part of working together to make it a safer community.
Thanks, through you. In the one slide of calls, I think it was 2020 was 80 for mental health, 2021 40, and 2022 56 of this month. Are we utilizing the COAST program still, or is that all reliant on our service?
Before I turn it over, and I will put my deputy on the spot right away. So the cautionary note about that slide, CAD created events. So those are specific calls that came in as Mental Health Act calls. And you'll note the number one driver of all of our call volume is 911. So I think it was 1,937, I'm not sure. But the reality is so many of those may involve someone in they're in distress. They may be suffering from some mental health issues. And so the reality is that's a very broad number. But the actual number of individuals that are involved in that have mental health issues or struggles as part of the call to the police is far greater. And so I just didn't want the board thinking that's the limited number that came in, that was coded as that when the first call came in. It's far greater than that. But to that effect, we, Deputy, do you want to speak to our?
Yes, absolutely. Deputy Mayor host continues, as does our MCERT program, partnership with the Royal Victoria Regional Health Center. So those are ongoing. We actually, before the board meeting today, we have a three-way meeting with those groups just to talk about exploring other options and seeing what can be available to maximize our service delivery in the area of mental health to the community.
Well, thanks for that. As you're saying, the number's much greater due to the 911 calls. When a call taker takes a 911 call due to the Mental Health Act, are we transferring that call to a crisis center, or it's ending at our service?
That's it.
Okay.
It may end up being transfer of care to the hospital to other agencies after our intervention.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief or deputy chief? Just a comment. I just wanted to extend my thanks for the privilege to say a few words at the graduation. The young women and men, enthusiasm, the excitement. It's a real positive, uplifting event to share some time with them and see their excitement. And I know we're in a good place and moving forward with those recruits. So I just want to extend my appreciation for the opportunity to attend. Our next meeting is February 16th, 2023. A motion to adjourn today's meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.